Well, hello everyone. Sorry about the long absence from Twitch. I've just been preoccupied. But now I'm gonna preoccupy you. The webcam's not on, by the way. I mean, it is on, but it's just disabled on my sources, so it won't. I don't know. But anyway, so you're probably thinking, oh God, it's this crazy guy talking about this online gaming service thing that closed down like 7 years ago. What is it this time? Well, do I have some stuff for you? So, let's start off with some new stuff that came up just today. You see this right here? And see this? So, this right here is pretty important. But first, we're going to go to this because this is brand new. So, this is a brand new program that Sony announced today, and it is a loyalty program, as it says here. And everybody loves their notifications. I don't. Okay, here it is. So this is the initial announcement that just came out today. First, let me close my blinds and turn on the lights, because it is starting to get a little dark. So, one moment. Okay, so, I hear you asking, well, what does PlayStation Stars have anything to do with the possible return of PlayStation Home? Well, you're about to find out. So, I'm gonna read through this, and I'm gonna reread the part that's the most important about this subject. First, let me log in. There we go. That is me, by the way. I do have an alternative account. It's not. I didn't make that account. I didn't make the new account in the event that I get banned. Because, for one, I'm not a dirty player. I wouldn't do that. But I actually made it in the event that I ever wanted to use it to show something off. Or do something, I guess. Actually, it would come in handy in the future. I can't say why though, but just know that I have a good feeling that I might need that account. Anyway, introducing PlayStation Stars, an all-new loyalty program. Just to confirm this is not replacing Sony rewards, that is still staying. This is solely for PlayStation. Join for free, complete campaigns, and earn rewards. So this is scheduled to come out later this year. I don't know when. Most likely September, October, November, December, maybe. I don't know. But let's read it, shall we? Throughout our company's 27-year history, we've been continually moved by how meaningful gaming experiences can create fond, lifelong memories for players. All of us at PlayStation take special joy in creating unique products and experiences that delight our fans. This includes everything from our consoles and critically acclaimed games to community challenges such as Seize the Throne and Treat Codes, to digital and live events including State of Play. Today, I'm pleased to reveal PlayStation Stars, a brand new loyalty program that celebrates you, the player, for being on this ever-growing gaming journey with us. PlayStation Stars will be free to join when it launches later this year. Once you become a member, you'll earn rewards by completing a variety of campaigns and activities. Our monthly check-in campaign simply requires you to play any game to receive a reward, while other campaigns require you to win tournaments, earn certain trophies, or even be the first player to platinum a blockbuster title in your local time zone. So, for example, what it means there, that last part, say, for example, and this is an example, so I'm not saying that I'm going to get the game right when it comes out, because obviously I'm saving up for a new PC. Alright. Oh. But the game I'm going to use as an example would be God of War Ragnarok. If I were to be the first person to plat the game in my own time zone, so my own specific time zone of America, which is Central Standard Time because I'm from Texas, then I would get a reward for that. All PlayStation Stars members will have opportunities to earn loyalty points. Points can be redeemed in a catalog that may include PSN wallet funds and select PS Store products. As an additional benefit, PlayStation Plus members enrolled in PlayStation Stars automatically earn points for purchases on PlayStation Store. Now this part I'm actually going to skip over because I'm going to talk about it last. I'm going to get some water first because I am still... I am feeling a little bit thirsty. Pretty hot out, you know. I'll be right back. I'm surprised I haven't been disconnected yet. I hope I don't jinx that. Oh, still there. Okay, so, I'm gonna read this. Dead Cat 121, heyo. Oh, this must be Melanie. Hello. Come on, load. Pardon me. Hey, Melanie. Pretty sure this is Melanie because you, Yep. Hey. Yes, this is me rambling about PlayStation homes more because, I don't know. Just every single day I'm increasingly more hopeful. Anyway, so, as I said before, I'm going to skip over this part for a moment, but I'll get to this specific part of the blog post right after I'm done reading this. So, where I last left off, I ended this. So, we hope this new program brings to mind past gaming experiences while making you excited for the future of PlayStation, commemorating the gaming eras we've celebrated together, charting new paths to explore, and bringing gamers together for global celebrations. This is just the beginning for PlayStation Stars, and the program will continue to evolve over time. We're currently doing some early tests on this program before launching it later this year and phase regional rollouts. So they did a similar regional rollout thing with the new Plus tier system. As you can see right here, this is actually for the Extra and Premium. We hope you'll enjoy the program once it launches. We'll be back with more updates in the future. Thanks for reading. The one thing I skipped over, and the reason why I did that, is because it's the main subject as to even more evidence that Home is, in fact, coming back. As part of PlayStation Stars, we are unveiling a new type of reward called Digital Collectibles. Now, as many people have pointed out on the internet, this is not to be confused with the NFT. craze that's dead, basically. Collectibles are as diverse as our portfolio of products and franchises. They are digital representations of things that PlayStation fans enjoy, including figurines of beloved and iconic characters from games and other forms of entertainment, as well as cherished devices that tap into Sony's history of innovation. There will be a new collectible to earn, an ultra rare collectible to strive for, or something surprising to collect just for fun. So I feel like there's going to be a rarity system, so you could get like easy collectibles just by doing something small in a game, or you could get like an ultra rare collectible for maybe platinuming a game. Now, why is this important? Well, for starters, like I said earlier, this is not to be confused with the NFTs that have been going on, although they're starting to die out. And for good reason. But instead, these are, well, I think you'll be interested in this. So, there was an interview with Grace Chen, the person who posted this blog post from the Washington Post. In this interview, she outright says that this is not NFTs or anything blockchain related at all. But here's the thing. According to what she says, these are 3D figurines. So, yeah. 3D rendered representations of things like figures of a video game character in past Sony devices. So I should mention that, as she says here, you can't trade them or sell them. So whenever you get them, you keep them. You can't get rid of them. But the reason why this is important is because this would tie into PlayStation Home, because of the fact that in the development for PlayStation Home leading up to its beta release in 2008, it was originally planned that Home would have a special personal space called a Hall of Fame, where you could show off your trophies and other things. And I feel like having these digital collectibles, it would tie into PlayStation Home coming back because of the fact that you could have these on display in, say, a personal space or in the Hall of Fame room. And not only that, but it just makes absolute sense. Because Sony wouldn't offer something like this with 3D rendered representations of things like this if it wasn't going to be tying into something to some extent. Now, why is this so important? Well, because of the fact that trying to find the thing, but there's a thing that came out just today from Game Rant, I think. But basically Game Rant, hold on. Yeah, here it is. So Game Rant initially reported on this, and then a while later, like several hours later, they posted about how this could be hinting at PlayStation Home. Now, they probably wouldn't call it PlayStation Home 2, because PlayStation Home, as I said, was a beta, so there wouldn't be any need to call it a sequel if the original game never came out of the beta stages yet. So if anything, it would be a proper revival, renewal, and revamp of the original service. But, as I said before, digital collectibles being 3D. So, I want to talk about why that's important and what I think it means. So you might think, well, it's a figurine, right? It's probably going to be some small action figure. That could be the case, but it could also be for the Hall of Fame room in this new PlayStation Home that people want. I myself included. So the Hall of Fame room is where you would display your trophies that you've earned by playing games. Alternatively, they could be bringing back that concept, but it could just be for the collectibles, because it could be like you're showcasing of what all you've done to get those. Which I think would be a really good idea. Or, as I said before, it could also just be something that you could show off in your personal space. But here's something else. Not only would you get those collectible figurines and stuff, you could also get like additional items for your avatar, like clothing or maybe a new accessory, stuff like that. But seriously, that is way more evidence. Now, something else that I wanted to talk about that kind of vaguely is a hint, I guess. So, you might have noticed this search result right here. When did the PS5 start development? As far as I'm aware, from what I could gather, the PS5 first started development approximately 2 years after the PS4 came out, because the PS4 came out November of 2013. So, quite literally about 9 years ago at this point. So, you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute. 2015. What's so important about 2015? As luck would have it, or rather misfortune, PlayStation Home closed down the beta service at that year too. Because it closed down at the very end of March that year. And coincidentally enough, 2015 was also the year that the PS5 started development. Now, why is this important? Well, I've done my best to find this interview for this game, Atom Universe. So, the interesting thing is that I haven't been able to find this interview exactly, but I do believe it for a moment. Like, I do believe it, but here it is. So, according to a YouTube channel that I occasionally watch, called The Real Huggable Panda, they made a video back in very late 2019 talking about PlayStation Home returning, and all the evidence. One of the things that they talk about in the video is how there was an interview that was, I think this interview was done around the same time Atom Universe was about to launch. And what had happened was during that interview, again, I haven't been able to find this interview exactly, but I have tried to actually find it. But, although I haven't been able to find the interview exactly, because, like, I've actually tried to find it, Okay, so yeah, I haven't been able to find the interview exactly. I don't know why I keep saying exactly, but the key thing is, according to Richard, who was the person who made the video that I was talking about earlier, their mother actually found that interview, and in this interview, which again I haven't been able to find, unfortunately, so I can't show it myself, but I do believe it, and I'll explain why. According to Tengai, the CEO of Atom Republic, he had mentioned that Sony had the developers that were going to make their own virtual worlds on PS4. They needed them to sign an agreement with Sony that stated that their games wouldn't be in direct competition with PlayStation Home. Now, it's important to note because it can be inferred because of the fact that, according to Richard, this video, okay, so let me explain it in a way that I won't fry my brain trying to think. So, Atom Universe came out in an alpha that people could join in very late 2015, I believe. And the thing is, Sony knew that Atom Universe was going to be a sort of spiritual successor to PlayStation Home. That's why they had the developers that were making their own virtual worlds to be sort of like PlayStation Home sign that agreement. This agreement stated that those developers would not be in direct competition with PlayStation Home. Now, bear in mind, this agreement was signed after Home was already closed down. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because Home closed down in 2015. When did the PS5 start development? 2015. That's right. 2 years after the PS3 came out, or about 2 years. So, what I believe is the case is that right when PlayStation started development of PS5 and started planning all the features that would be coming to the console throughout its life cycle, PlayStation Home came to mind. And ironically enough, PlayStation Home came out approximately 2 years after the PS3 came out. So, when you put two and two together, it seems to me that Sony did, in fact, plan on making a new version of PlayStation Home, and they still are making it. And it's very likely that it's going to be ready to come out very, very soon. I don't know how soon, but judging by the fact that the PS5 started development in 2015, the trademark for PlayStation Home's logo, and then the actual trademark itself for the name of the service were all renewed between 2017 and 2018. 2017 for the two logo trademarks, and the name of the service was renewed in September of 2018. This means that it's very possible that they could have been starting the development of a new version of PlayStation Home as early as 2016, maybe even earlier. Not only that, but we also have the fact that Sony knew that the PS5, because of it having a much better system architecture, so like the SSD and all this other technology that wouldn't have been possible on the PS4, it would be a much better fit for PlayStation Home because it wouldn't have to have any of those limitations that have like long loading times. Sorry about that. I swallowed some spit by accident. But basically, this new version of Home won't have to worry about loading times. You likely won't have to worry about downloading new spaces that you want to go to, because it'll all be like it's hard to say, but you won't download it. Wait, what? Okay, now we know when the PS5 came out. Or no, not came out, but started development. So, the concept stages of the PS5 started a day after the PS4 shipped. The actual development of the console, so like the development of all the things necessary to make the console what it is, started up in 2015. So, there's that. But, if it's one thing I will say, it's that it's all coming together, basically. So, we have the trademarks being renewed a couple of years ago. We have PlayStation Stars, which was recently announced today, having digital collectibles. Now, I want you to think about this, alright? Sony could have easily, if they really wanted to, they could have done this sooner, but there's a specific reason why they timed this at this point. It's because of the fact that, knowing Sony and how they worded the thing saying it'll be coming out later this year, I feel like what's going to be happening is they announced it this month, and they're probably going to be launching it September at the earliest. And maybe alongside that, a new version of PlayStation Home. Now, not only that, but it's been rumored. Well, there's actually been two rumors for a showcase. There's been persistent rumors about a showcase in September, which is pretty likely because it happened 2 years in a row. So we had the September showcase in 2020 that showed out the price of the release date of the PS5. Then we had last year's showcase, which revealed God of War Ragnarok. So we could be having another September showcase this year. Alternatively, I've also heard that there may be a showcase next month, which is also likely, but I'm not for certain. Because this is Sony we're talking about. They could do something at any moment and people would be caught off guard by it. That's not a bad thing, though. But, yeah, so why is the PS5's development so important regarding PlayStation Home's possible return? Is because of the fact that, considering the fact that the PS5 came out. Wait, no, not came out. The development of the console began in 2015. So, 5 years prior to the console's launch. Not only that, but you have to factor in the roadmap. No, not rat. I almost said roadmap. The company roadmap that Sony had internally, where they would plan whatever features would go onto the PS5, maybe not all at once, but gradually throughout the console's lifespan. So, because the PS5 came out in 2020, this year would be year 2, and it's very likely that, they would be doing something to celebrate the second anniversary of the PS5. So, PlayStation Home, for example, that came out a little over 2 years after the PS3 came out. it'd be really funny if Sony followed that same pattern where they released a new version of PlayStation Home right around the 2 year mark. But again, I'm not for certain. This is all just speculation and stuff. But think about it like this: Sony didn't have to do that digital collectible thing, did they? Not unless they had a specific reason for the digital collectibles. Because as Grace Chen said in that interview with Washington Post, the collectibles are 3D objects. So think of it sort of like a 3D digital version of a collectible item you would have in real life. So like a little statuette of a game character or something like that. But it's digital and you could use it as a decoration somewhere. That could be in the new PlayStation Home, and I feel like that would be the case. Now, something else I would like to talk about is the subject of the Soho engine. Now, you're probably wondering, what exactly is the Soho engine anyway? Well, the Soho engine is a game engine made by London studio in, well, Soho, London. Hence the name Soho engine. Now, the Soho engine itself has been trademarked in numerous different locations such as Japan, New Zealand, Switzerland, Canada, Mexico. Obviously, it's also been trademarked in Europe. But it's also in the process of being trademarked in the US. Now, why is this important? Why am I also talking about where exactly it was trademarked at in the world? It's because of the fact that PlayStation Home, coincidentally enough, had different regional versions. In fact, whenever it was around, it had 4 different versions. It had the EU version, the NA version, meaning North America, the Asia region, like the Asia version, and then Japanese version. It's very possible that the reason why Soho engine is being trademarked in these different regions is because of the fact that PlayStation Home, just like before, will have its own regional versions, and this could very well be the game engine that it'll be running on. In fact, I'd like to believe so because it just makes perfect sense. Now, like I said, this is currently in the process of being trademarked. So, all this is complete. So now they're just awaiting, this. So, it's not fully registered yet, but they are having a, opposition period at the very beginning of next month, and it'll be ending 30 days after that. So if I show you how long does a opposition period last? 30 days. So because the opposition period will be beginning on August 2nd for Soho engine, that means that by the time it's over, it'll be September the 2nd, I think. Right? No, it'll be September the 1st. And if rumors are to be believed and truthful, the soonest we could get a showcase, because I don't think we'll be getting a showcase in August. Maybe it'll be like a state of play. But basically, I feel like if we are getting a September showcase, the earliest we could get one is the 8th of September. Because that sounds like a very plausible date. So yeah, there's that. So we have the Soho engine, we have the PlayStation Stars loyalty program, We have the fact that the Soho engine has been trademarked in numerous different territories, just like how PlayStation Home had different territorial versions. We have the fact that PlayStation 5 has been, like, it was in development since 2015, so it was a 5-year development period. And during that time, they had plans to bring PlayStation Home to PS5, which makes sense because 2015 was also the year that it closed down. Judging by the fact that it was a beta, it can be inferred that they will be bringing it back as a fully fledged free-to-play service, but not in beta. So yeah. So honestly, I think I've made myself clear on this one. Because there is lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Now, I should also talk about London Studio, but I should also mention that the game they're working on right now is not PlayStation Home. It is a brand new IP, but I should say it is possible that they have another game that's being developed in secrecy, and it's almost ready to go. It's also very likely that that secret game could be already completed, but they're waiting for the go-ahead from Sony. So there's that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go into the Wayback Machine and well, you'll see. So okay. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. So it is very much likely because of all this stuff. Like, for one, we have the trademarks being updated and renewed for PlayStation Home. We have the Soho engine. We have PlayStation Stars. We have all of this other stuff. And it seems to me like Sony has been, in fact, planning PlayStation Home's return for the PS5 for quite a long time. In fact, over 7 years at this point. And I feel like it just makes perfect sense that they would do that, you know? Okay, so, yeah. I honestly feel like I've made my point very clear. So, yeah, so I have got to stop singing so much. Oh, right. So, something else I should probably talk about. Um, this was something that happened very recently, a couple of days ago, and it made me so happy to hear about this. So you're probably thinking, well, what is it? Come on, cut to the chase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Google Earth and I'm going to show you something that might seem familiar, but then I'm going to show you something new that happened recently. So, first of all, you are going to see my little area that I live in. So, this place right here was formerly called Alamo Draft House. As you can see on my shirt, this is where I used to work. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, as I've talked about before in the past, I almost said Adam Universe. Alamo Draft House NRH right there closed down, and it was stated to be permanently shuttered in February this year. And it's been technically permanently shuttered since last year, and they have plans of reopening it, but it never went through. So they ended up having to sell the building. And as luck would have it, a couple of months after that initial announcement of the place closing down, looky here. Yeah. So, that's right. We are, in fact, getting a theater again. But it doesn't stop there. Oh, no. Because I know it's showing Topeka, Kansas, but whatever. So, yeah. This is so recent that I literally found out about it 2 days ago. And the funny thing is, I found out about it by complete accident because I was on Google Earth at that time and I was in the overhead view. And I went over to where the theater was expecting to see it say Alamo Draft House, North Richland Hills, permanently closed. But instead, it says BB8 movie theaters, like, it says BB8 Theater, North Richland Hills 8. And, this is where it gets really exciting. Because this right here is literally what the building looked like. Now, it's very possible that because of the fact that it's currently in the process of, all the other stuff they're planning on doing, these signs will no longer be here at some point. But, actually, hold on. Wait a minute, I just realized. Wait a minute. I'm gonna go back there. So, the closest I could get to actually seeing the building is... Okay, so as you can see right here, we have the sign that says cinema. Where the hell did it go? Yeah, so, I just realized this photo was taken recently, like right after it was purchased. So it's very possible that whenever I inevitably get back to going on my walks again, because I'm waiting until the temperature dies down, but eventually I am going to go back to walking. But it's very possible they might have even taken down this sign over here. But here's where it gets really cool. So B&B Theaters, the nation's largest privately held theater chain, has acquired the former Alamo Drafthouse location in NRH, with the aim of reopening the theaters somewhere around the holiday season in 2022. They say around the holiday season, so it could be earlier than the holiday season, so say September, October maybe. And yeah, as it says here, this used to be the Alamo Drafthouse that opened in April 2019. I literally worked there from the very day they opened, and I loved every freaking minute. And so, whenever I saw this news, I had told my aunt about this and my papa about it, and I told them both that whenever the place does open up, which again, they said that it'll be sometime by the end of this year, so again, October, November, December maybe, because that's basically towards the end of the year. But I literally told them when this place reopens and I decide to see a movie there or something, I will quite literally wear one of my Alamo Drafthouse shirts, and if they ask me about it, I'll just say, back when this place was still an Alamo Drafthouse, I loved every minute of it here, and I'm glad to see someone carry the torch. And, like, that's not to say it in a negative light, because honestly, I'm really, really happy that someone did, in fact, buy this place. Because, for a bit of context about what I mean whenever I just said I was happy to see someone bought this place. So, whenever I found out that this place was permanently closed back in February this year, I talked to my papa about it and said that it is actually official. And I asked him one time, what do you think is going to happen to this place? And he said that it's possible that someone might buy it up and turn it into something else, or it might even become a new theater. And at first I was like, yeah, that sounds likely, but I don't know. I don't know how soon that's going to happen. Come to find out, like 4 freaking months after, 5 months rather. Yeah, it's true. But, trust me, it ain't gonna be like the old Alamo Drafthouse. It's gonna be a completely revamped experience. Says here in a press release, BB Theaters promises exciting, innovative, and signature plans to renovate the theater, although they plan to utilize its existing ergonomically designed luxury recliners. God, those were comfortable. And full cutting-edge laser projection. One new amenity they'll be installing is a grand screen, the company's own premium large format venue, a wall-to-wall screen that is among the largest screens in the nation. The theater will also feature B&B's food-to-go menu, offering guests not just traditional concession items, but made-to-order flatbreads, burgers, fries, onion rings, chicken tenders, and more. They will have self-service soda fountains, allowing guests to mix and match flavors and enjoy free refills in all sizes. Woo! That is already a winner, alright? I can already tell that this place is going to be way more successful than the old place. Now, that's not to say the Alamo Drafthouse I worked at was bad. It was awesome. But I did notice that as time progressed, they had less and less customers. Because at first, when I first started working there, I had to work there basically every weekend. But as time progressed, I would stop working there less and less because they would stop calling me in less and less. And the last ever time I actually worked at the theater was quite literally the second to last weekend in July of 2019. After that, we were all notified in early August that because school was starting up at that point, or around that point, and because of the declining customer numbers, because a lot of customers happen to be parents who had kids who were about to go to school at that point, that we would be seeing some vacation time. Well, imagine to their surprise when not even a year later a pandemic hit, killed one of my family members, and although that doesn't really have anything to do with this, and it also killed the theater location. But here we are with a new theater, and all this stuff right here, that's not even the half of it. It's gonna have an arcade! Yes! An arcade! Woo! Oh my gosh. Yes! Okay, so you're probably wondering, well, why is having an arcade such a big deal to you? You really want to know? Because this means that for the first time in my life, I'll live close to an arcade place. And a movie theater. Actually, no, that'll be the second time ever. Because the first time was with the Alamo Draft House and then it closed down, but now we're getting a B&B later this year. But the arcade thing, let me explain. So, growing up, I went to a movie theater called Cinemark Movies 8. Which I will look up right now. Cinemark Movies 8. That's not it. Yeah, here it is. So, as it says right here, obviously permanently closed. I kid you not. This theater, this frickin' theater, I grew up with it. I absolutely loved going here growing up. And if you're curious about why that is, well, look no further than my childhood. The very first movie I saw there, to my current knowledge, was Toy Story 2, which came out in '99. I was 2 years old at that point. From that point on, I absolutely loved the movie theater. And so anytime me and my mama went to a movie theater, went to that movie theater, I just had the time of my life. Because for one, the popcorn was excellent quality. Anyway, wait, hold on. Right, here it is. So I was going to talk about quite possibly the most lasting memory of this place. And it wasn't, Toy Story 2 or anything like that. It was actually the last time I ever actually got to go there. So, this movie theater, according to this, opened in June 10th, 1988. Literally the same year as the Sega Mega Drive releasing. Closed the following year, but it was taken over by Cinemark in February of 1990. Realty 3D, self-service ticketing, digital projection and sound, and second-run attractions. So this right here, this is actually what I was talking about when I said that I was excited about having an arcade that I would live close to. Because that Cinemark movie theater that I used to go to as a kid, it had an arcade. Now, granted, I almost never played in there because, for one, my mamaw didn't really want to waste money in there. Because, we were there to watch movies, not play games. But I have, on occasion, played games there. It was pretty fun. I kind of sucked at the games, though, but that's what you get when you're a little kid. But I will never forget the last ever time I went over to that movie theater with my mamaw, because it was a couple of days before the movie theater closed down. And what had happened was we went there to see one last movie. As a proper little send-off to the theater, we went to see one last movie. And you're probably thinking, well, what movie was that? It was none other than a Christmas classic, Home Alone. And I think it was a great little send-off to that theater. And so, to see a movie theater that not only would I live near once again, but it would be more akin to a traditional movie experience. So, what I think is going to happen is the interior of the building is going to get revamped for the most part, but the theater rooms will most likely stay the same. But the fact that they're going to have an arcade is awesome. Now, before I go on, I would like to say where I believe the arcade would be. You see this sign right here that says Vetted Well? That is actually a bar location that they had built into the building. And from what I could figure out, just based on my own judgment, that most likely will be the same area where the arcade will be. And speaking of the arcade, BB Theaters also plans to install a massive redemption arcade featuring the latest games, classics, prizes, and more. So it's your run-of-the-mill arcade, most likely with like the latest games and stuff. I mean, it literally says it right here. It has been so thrilling to see our industry rebound in such an incredible fashion, says Bob Bagby, B&B Theaters president and CEO, in a statement. The big screen is back in every way, and this magnificent theater in NRH is longing to be reopened to the public. Now, for the most exciting part of this is this company's history. As of right now, this theater is currently 98 years old. In 2 years, it'll be a full 100 years old. So it has a lot of history compared to Alamo Drafthouse, which has been around roughly the same time as I've been alive. Because they were founded the same year I was born. That's completely coincidental, by the way. Now, in terms of theater chains in general, it is the 5th largest. But in terms of privately owned movie theater chains, it is the largest. Which is awesome. So what they mean by that is, this is family owned. So in terms of like family owned businesses, like theater businesses, this is the largest. And that's extremely promising because that means that this movie theater company, because of how long it's been around, it's gotten a whole lot more success than Alamo Drafthouse. Now, again, that's not to badmouth Alamo Drafthouse, because obviously Alamo Drafthouse has been pretty successful itself, but after this and that, I don't know. Now, I'm not saying I hate Alamo Drafthouse. Far from it, actually. I love Alamo. But I feel like with B&B theaters claiming ownership of the theater and turning it into something new while keeping that same theater functionality, it would be in a more capable set of hands that could turn it into something that people would be more engaged with. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not going to apply for a job there. I learned my mistake of applying for a job in a movie theater the first time around, and let me explain. You ready for this? 2 words. Pay card. Yeah, that's right. It was my first ever job, was a movie theater employee. I was a dishwasher operator, actually. Well, I was a dishwasher operator, and I was also a food prep. So food preps, what they are you do certain things like squirting some mustard into condiment cups, or getting a few ounces of cheese into a small baggie and, winding it up so that way it stays closed. Something along those lines. And I did a really good job, I was always careful, I was always clean. I made sure to clean up as best as I could. But that wasn't the problem. My position in the movie theater wasn't the problem. It was when we eventually got our pay cards. That's right, a pay card, not a paycheck. Now, traditionally, when you think of getting a job, you would think that whenever you get paid, you would get a paycheck and you would cash it in to get your money, right? Not here. I literally got a pay card, couldn't even set it up the first time. I had to get a replacement because there was something wrong, and I did get that one set up. But what ended up happening was, so this pay card company, I think it's called Skylight One, I think. Basically, in order to make sure that my pay card account was set up properly and that it would stay up permanently, I had to have 2 things to make sure it would stay up permanently. Number 1 was my identification to prove who I was. And seeing as how I do have a state ID, I was able to do that, no problem. The problem, however, was whenever it asked me to have proof of residence, even though I literally put in my address during the account setup. I kid you not, that was the problem. So, to explain what I mean by that, when you're setting up something like that, like, say for example, you're setting up an Amazon account and it asks you for your address so that way whenever you have something shipped to your house, it goes to the right address. It was much the same thing for the Skylight One account, where I would have to put in my legitimate address, which I did, and they even mailed me a card. And you would think that, oh, well, what's the big deal, right? The second thing I needed to show in order to keep the account running was proof of residency. And what it means by that is a bill that has my name on it, that has my address on it. The problem is, I don't pay bills. So, I had to talk to my papa about it, and he came up with the idea that maybe if I sent a picture of one of his bills through an email because I had to do this all through emails. Like, I would have to email them pictures of my ID front and back, which I did that and it was approved. But then the bill thing. So, in my papaw's defense, like, he had the right idea, alright? Like, we weren't trying to be cheap with anything, we weren't trying to, like, trick them or anything like that, but he said that whenever I send that picture, I should say that this is my grandfather's bill, but I live with him, so this is where I live. It was denied. So because of that, I was able to get paid for a certain period of time. Until July 5th of 2019. Literally the same year I got my job. And what had happened on that date was I got a notification in my emails that I had a direct deposit. Now, bear in mind, that same day was supposed to be a payday. We got paid bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, well, what's the big deal? The big deal is that normally whenever I got my email about my paydays, it would tell me how much money I got, and so anytime I got that, I would log in and see how much money I got saved up. In fact, that's actually what led me to buying my PC that I currently have. Was me saving up. But the difference here is that on July 5th that year, I wasn't able to log into the account at all, even though I tried my best to remember my password. And then it said that I had a direct deposit that was pending, but my account was locked. And so at some point later that day, because I was going to my house that day, because I was at my mama's before and I was going back home that day, what had happened was whenever I was home, I decided to try and reset my password. And you know how normally they ask you for your email so that way they could send an email to you with the thing to reset your password? I never got it. Ever. And to make matters worse, I found out that my account was literally, like, deleted. Like, it was completely disabled. And so, a day or two after this event, I went over to my workplace and told my bosses about it, only to find out that I wasn't the only person who had to deal with that. And so they had to talk to the company about it. Not the higher-ups at Alamo, I'm talking about Skylight 1. And they ended up saying that they'll let me know if anything comes up. Nothing ever happened. At all. Ever. So, quite literally, because of that, I was working there for free as a result of a company that, as far as I'm aware, has piss poor customer service and wouldn't even understand why I had to send them a picture of my papaw's bill alongside a message to them saying why it doesn't have my legal name. Like, because that's the reason why we used his bill for the photo, is that it was to show that, for one, I have the same last name as him, so I'm related to him. Although sometimes there are people out there who have the same last name as somebody else, but they're not related at all. But the purpose of me sending a picture of that bill was to show that that was my address. And although my name wasn't on that bill because it was my papaw's, I did tell them that that was where I lived. But it wasn't accepted. So alongside that, and alongside the piss poor, customer service, and the fact that they never once got back to Alamo Drafthouse regarding that stuff, guess who never got another penny out of their job? This guy. And mind you, this isn't on Alamo. Alamo did nothing wrong here. It was on the fault of Skylight 1 because if they hadn't have done that to my account, I likely would have been able to get at least a few more things with that pay card before I ended up getting let go due to an unforeseen circumstance. But I digress. What I will say, however, is that Skylight 1, you can go fuck yourselves, alright? The fact that y'all guys did that, where I was screwed out of money because of some piss poor management, yeah, not good. And again, this is by no means a negative message towards Alamo Drafthouse, because they did nothing wrong. Like, they never did anything wrong towards me. I was a good employee. They were good to me. And, there was no bad blood between us. We were on good terms till the end. And, even though the theater permanently shuttered, I still regard them as a really good company, and I still fondly remember the good times I had there. But, yeah. Now you know why I will never get a job at a movie theater again. Now, I'm not saying that same thing is going to happen to me again. But I'm also not saying that the same thing will happen to me again. But, anyway, so I just wanted to talk about all that stuff. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this stream. If you did, then follow me if you'd like. I will be uploading this to YouTube tomorrow as a VOD. It'll go under a different title, obviously. But, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Good night.